Shalom and good day, all. This is Healing29 back again for another indie comic review. And in this indie comic review, I am covering issue number 28 of the Giant Size Phantom. And moving into first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the stories? And sure enough it does, to which I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the internal art, as well as all of the stories that we get to see in this and who these additional characters are. So as we get a bit of a look inside, of course the first one is going to be centered on the key character that makes up the area of the Phantom franchise, and that is the Phantom himself, to which we do have a bit of a story there on the assassination of the Phantom. Next we have the character of Sir Falcon, followed by the character called the Panther. And then we have a character called the Shadow, which is not quite like the Shadow in relation to the movie The Shadow. This is a completely different character called the Shadow. And last but not least, the character of Planet Man. So I'll show you a bit of some of the internal art in relation to the story, and then what I'll do after that is I'll give the rating for both the art as well as the story. So looking into some of the first one right here, of course we get the message in the story that the Phantom is dead, when if anything it's like a bit of a ruse of sorts. Of course we get quite a number of characters, because we learn that these villains have had trouble with the character of the Phantom. And last but not least, towards the end. So for the story of the first one, or for the art of the first one, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. For its story, I give it an 8 out of 10, as I quite actually enjoyed the story. Next is the character of Sir Falcon. And we also learn that Sir Falcon has I guess a sidekick of sorts, an animal sidekick of sorts, very similar to the Phantom. And the sidekick is actually by the name of Flash. So Falcon and Flash. Of course, we get a little bit of information about the character in these first couple of pages. We see some of the adversarial things that the character encounters. And of course, there's his dog named Flash, where the Phantom's dog is called Devil. Moving it a little bit more slowly towards the end, and last but not least, towards the actual end, to which we have the Falcon also give a nice little gift to his love interest. For this story and art, I gave them both a 7 out of 10. Next is the character of the Panther, not the Phantom, not to be mistaken, but they do somewhat look, slightly similar in appearance. But I will add this, that I did actually quite like the story of this, and I wouldn't be surprised if they actually bring out, or it would be nice to see if they brought out, or if Frew brought out some books around the character of the Panther. Of course, moving into the beginning of the story, we learn about the character. We also learn about the environment that he lives in, where he is place-wise. I quite enjoyed the art in this, because this art was, I think, on level to the art that I enjoyed in the first story, seeing as the character explores around. And I'll start to bring it towards the end so I can give the rating for it. So for this third story, for the internal art, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. It actually felt really close enough to the art that I saw in the Phantom story, so I gave it a 7.5 for the art and also a 7.5 for the story. Let's move into the next character of the Shadow. And of course we get a bit of a appearance of the character and what they look like. If anything, they look a little bit alien in appearance, but it doesn't mean they are. Of course, we get a bit of information about the character and who his real name, or what his real name is. So we do learn his alias that he uses in public, but we also know his hero identity. We get to see a little bit more take place within the story, and slowly moving towards the end. And last but not least, moving towards the actual end, which we get to see what's actually occurring here, and as he takes out some of the villains within the story. For this, I gave the art a 7 out of 10. I do think it could have been a little bit better, but considering how old the story is, it was still fun and enjoyable to read. And to which I also give the art as well as the story a 7 out of 10. Last but not least, we have the character of Planet Man. So of course we get a bit of a advert shown in this, and we move into the world of Planet Man, and we get a bit of information about the character as to what is presently happening in the story. I must admit, I quite like the art in this, and I also like how the characters were depicted. And last but not least, towards the end, to which the character of Sir Falcon makes an appearance. Okay, moving into the last thing. For the internal art, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. And for the story, I also gave it a 7.5 out of 10. So, for this overall giant-sized fandom, it's definitely worth the pickup. So, until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.